Hey everyone, I just wanted to wish everyone a good evening. Today was a really busy day, but it was good. It's a good day to be with the Lord. Just a good day to worship Him, and I just wanted to just give you just a review from this book. And this past Saturday, we went up to page 43, and the previous Saturday we talked about testimonies, and I kind of talked about it a little bit with Brian. But the one thing that Brian mentioned to me is that if he had to share his testimony, he's not sure how he would do it. And we talked about it, and there's three key parts to a testimony. Number one, why are you a Christian? Number two, what does Jesus mean to you? And number three, how does being a Christian help you today? And it's just those basic things that if you shared, it would really help in your testimony. And as for this past Saturday, Brian and Scott were there, and it went over Galatians chapter 2, verses 1 to 10. And I just wanted to read an excerpt for us that kind of summarizes what the main idea was all about. And it goes, if salvation depends upon obeying rules, then you want your rules to be very specific, doable, and clear. You don't want love your neighbor as yourself, because that's an impossibly high standard which has endless implications. You want don't go to movies, or don't drink alcohol, or don't eat this type of food. Basically, what a lot of the Galatians were under attack from was this kind of false teaching that you had to follow these rules in order to be a Christian. And what Paul was emphasizing was that if you are a Christian, you're held to this one all rule abiding law, which is to love God. When you love God, you're going to have all the rules. You will obey them. It's kind of like this. It's one thing to, right? I'll just use an example. Like for me and Brian, let's say that I asked Brian to do something, because he should do it. That's so vague. Let's say that I asked Brian as a friend to lend me money, right? Because I want to buy my mom a gift or something silly like that. Let's say that I told Brian, you have to give it to me, or else, because it's the right thing to do. It's one thing if Brian was under obligation and he was forced to give it to me. It would be another thing if we were in the kind of relationship where I sacrificed for him and I served him, and if I asked him to give me something or do something for me, for him to want to do it. I kind of share with Scott and Brian that the times that it's not hard for me to do things is when I really like someone. When I really like that person, if they could ask me something crazy, like drive me 3 a.m. in the morning somewhere, and I'll do it. I won't complain at all. But if it's someone that I don't care about, I'll be like, oh, do I really have to do it? And underneath all these commands and rules that we have as a Christian is this one command that God calls us to, and it's to love Him and to follow Him. And the reason that we love and follow Him is that when we were still sinners, God chose to love us. And one thing that Scott shared that really stood out to me is there's some days where when we sin and we mess up and we ask ourselves, does God really love me because of my sin and because of my mistakes? And at the cross, it is God's absolute promise. It's His sign, and it's His proof that He will love you. Period. There is absolutely nothing that can separate you from God's love. And It could be your best day, it could be your worst day, it doesn't matter. I want us to really know that there's really nothing that we can do that will separate us from the love of God. And that is really encouraging to me today. What we need is faith in Jesus Christ. And so it's one thing to say, oh, I have to go to church or I have to be a good Christian because I have to do it. And it's another thing to say, I want to be a good Christian. I want to be a good brother. I want to be a good sister. I want to be a good son. I want to be a good daughter because I love God. And what I'm praying for all of us is that God would help us to grow in that. God, help us to want to love you, and help us to want to love the people that you've placed in our life. Hope you guys have a great week.